What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video, doing things a little bit differently. This isn't a tip video. This is more kind of a discussion video slash mini rant. Something I'm really starting to have a problem with in Madden 19 that I don't like, and I know a lot of times people in the comments say I don't talk enough about the bad stuff, but I do talk about the stuff I don't like, and this is one of those things. So, the real player motion this year. So, overall, yes, I like real player motion. I do think in a lot of, situations in the run game, players do move more realistically. Definitely adds more of like a skill gap to the run game and things of that nature. But there's other issues with real player motion that I actually do have, and it's just the way it doesn't feel like it's distributed to all players. Especially, it doesn't feel like a lot of times the AI controlled players have to deal with real player motion. It seems like they move perfectly at all times. They move like they did in previous years, whereas you, the guy that is controlling your player, you don't get that same benefit, and sometimes that makes, causes for things to happen that aren't, shouldn't be happening, I guess you should say. So I'm just in practice mode, messing around with plays, and this was just a good example of it, so I figured I would show it. So one thing that really has, real player motion has really hampered to me is a lot of passes to the flats. Now, certain routes to the flats work really good, but just basic flat routes from like a tight end, they do not work nearly as good because of this. So let's just show you. I'm doing a play action here. My tight end Josh Hill, he's in like a check and release, so he's blocking, and then he releases to the flat. But this is actually really good because this causes all the zone coverage. You see there over on the right, all the zone coverage is dropping back because there's no threat down there immediately. So that opens up the flats even more. So right here, I mean, you see that Josh Hill has literally like 15, more than 50, almost 20 yards in the flats here. And all I'm expecting is 4 to 5 yards. Okay, because he's a tight end. He's not gonna get upfield as quickly as somebody could come down and meet him. Of course, 4 to 5 yards is fine here. And in real life, you hit this guy in the flats, he's going upfield for a really nice gain. You can't do that in Madden because of real player motion. So watch what happens here. We're going to show closely why this is. But you see, I get 2 yards at best on this flat when I had all that space. But this is the thing. When my guy's catching the ball, this is what happens. And, passes to the tight ends and the flats have not been that great for a while, in my opinion, because they kind of delay when they catch it instead of catching it in stride. Like, they slow down. They do this, like, little jump thing, which isn't cool. But whatever. That's been in the game. So it is what it is. So that's already slowing him down. But then he has to plant his foot super heavy before he can go upfield. He can't just start running upfield. Now that's fine. That's the real player motion. He's planting his foot. He's cutting upfield. But the problem I have is back here. Who is this? Munnerlin. So the same thing does not happen to him. And that's why he's able to get down there so quickly and meet me down there and limit my yards. So watch what happens to Munnerlin. He's backpedaling. He doesn't have to plant his foot and come forward. You see how he just kind of, he glides. Like, as soon as he wants to start attacking, to the flat, he just glides and he just immediately gets a boost. He does not have to plant his foot and, start sprinting forward. He just immediately, he just moves in like a fluid motion. Backpedal, backpedal, backpedal. He glides, and then he starts going forward. If he had to plant his foot and then, try to accelerate out of that and come forward, that would delay him getting down here, and that would allow me to pick up the 4 to 5 yards in the flats that I should be getting. Because if you look at this, look how much, the flats can't be any more open than that, but I can't take advantage of it because not only does my tight end have to do this little jump catch to kind of catch the ball, but whatever, that's fine. He has to deal with real player motion, whereas Munnerlin over there, he can just come out of a back pedal just gliding forward, and he does not have to plant his foot. And that happens a lot this year, especially versus computer, especially versus AI controlled players. They aren't subject to the same thing that the user is, and that allows them to close on the ball faster. That allows them to make plays that otherwise they shouldn't be able to make because they're not affected by the real player motion like the user is. And that, that happens on run plays a lot of times too. When you have, the outside lane and you try to cut it upfield, you have to plant your foot, but the defender doesn't. The defender can just he does the same thing. He just kind of glides and starts shooting that way, and it's not fair. And it's a lot of people have complained about, it seems like the defense closes on the ball quicker than you can pull away from them. It seems like they're faster than you, and that's because they're not subject to the real player motion like you are. They oftentimes get that little glide and they can just immediately burst into the direction, whereas you have to actually plant, you have to maneuver, you have to really plant and cut up field, whereas they don't. And I think that's definitely something that needs to be looked at and addressed, because there's no reason this flat pass should go for it didn't even get 2 yards. It didn't even reach the 32-yard line. It got almost 2 yards, but at the time of me throwing it, he's got 20 yards of open space. But because the defensive back didn't have to plant his foot in order to shoot forward, and I had to plant my foot to go upfield, an easy 4 to 5 yard gain, which, yeah, 4 to 5 yard gain isn't much, but for a flat pass on a first down, let's say, that's a solid gain. Instead, we're getting, 1 3/4 of a yard because of the real player motion. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Am I just tripping here, or I think it's a valid complaint? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I will see you guys next time.